Hey guys, welcome back. Welcome to the channel. I'm ADC Connor, and today I just want to give you a little life update. But before that, as the title says, I just saw the latest episode of Talking Watches on Hodinkee, one of my favorite watch shows or watch episodes since the first episode with John Mayer. And there are some episodes I I don't dig. But I think we can all agree that talking watches should last a bit longer. Longer. We need more talking watches and more episodes. Maybe we need talking watches with Archie Luxury. That would be a fun watch. And the latest episode with Bill Bill Higgins, I think, captures the essence of watch collecting and really illustrates everything what's wrong with modern day nowadays YouTube celebrity watch collectors. And speaking of Archie Luxury, he's the complete opposite from the Bill Higgins collections. And I say I don't like some episodes from Hodinkee because some of the episodes are really, I don't know, some of them are really, there's a Novo Riche or the O'Riche guy, even Kevin O'Leary, he's not a Novo Riche, but he's a very rich guy, and he just buys the latest and greatest and hottest and the most popular flavor of the month, flavor of the day. Which I don't mind. Those are great watches. Flavor of the day, flavor of the years, some great watches we can have. But today I want to specifically talk about the Talking Watches episode with Bill Higgins. He's an elderly gentleman and he collects books and watches. And what's interesting to me is that he has a great collection of vintage timepieces. And it doesn't matter if it's vintage or modern, but it's, I guess, from his era. Uh, the watches we collect nowadays will be vintage when we get turned 50 or 60 or whatnot, so it's the same thing. And the watches today are better made, if you ask me. Better materials, better fit and finish quality and everything. Just take a look at the Rolex bracelets from the 80s and the modern ones. It's good. However, he has curated a collection of really remarkable timepieces, and I wish that Hodinkee showed more of his watches, and I think they just cut a lot of that video through and just cut out the boring parts, which I never do. Hey man, greetings from Sweden. Hey man, how you doing? Lubomir Babic. And he has a vintage Certina that shows, I don't know what it shows. It's not date, it's not calendar. It looks like calendar, but it's something. And he liked it and he collected it. He has some Lord Elgin old watches. And interesting in his collection, I don't want to just spoiler alert everything, but in his collection, what's really interesting and which I found, you learn something every day from everyone, and he collects watches in pairs. So if he has, for example, one Certina, he has another one. He has two vintage Hamiltons. Sometimes they are the same, sometimes they are just a bit different, and he says that no watch, I'm gonna paraphrase it, no watch, two watches, two same watches from the same era, they tell a better story, they reveal more of a story. He has two vintage Datejusts. One has an inscription, one is a bit more tool watch, they both gold, but one is more tool and one is more fancy dress watch. And I think I find that really interesting and fascinating. And now I want to have two of the same kind for my pieces in my collection. of course, uh, sometimes when you go higher end, you cannot have really high two pieces. You cannot have two Rolex Pepsis or whatnot. And I don't want to slag off Rolex Pepsi or whatnot, but when you take a look at some of the earlier episodes of the Talking Watches, where a guy has all the one-off greatest. One of my favorite episodes was with the Jean-Claude Bivet. It really tells and shows the history of a man. And during my collecting days, I sold a lot of watches, and most of them I regret selling. Not because I most of the time I sold a watch to buy another one, but you end up missing the one you sold, and you find you can never get it back, or the price is too high or whatnot. So I try nowadays in my philosophy of collecting to I try to not to sell. If I want to buy something, I'm not gonna sell anything. And I passed. I had the opportunity to buy a couple of watches this past weekend, but it would meant I would have to get rid of something, and I don't really want to get rid of anything because I just wanna be. I wanna grow old with my collection. I wanna be like this gentleman who was on the latest bill, on the latest episode of Talking Watches. I just wanna collect watches. I don't wanna follow. Archie has some great advice for novice collectors and whatnot. Buy Rolex, buy this, don't buy that. That's a garbage. But if you just step aside from that philosophy, I think you become more educated collector, and you become a real collector because uh, if you have 10 different if you have a GMT, Batman, Submariner, Datejust, and I don't know, Day Date or Daytona, and you're a collector and you go to collectors meet and greet to the pub and where, and you bring your collection and everyone brings their collection, and it is the case, at least on YouTube here, what I see. Everyone brings a collection is the same, and you have 10 different watches and 50 different watch boxes. So at what point the watch boxes become more interesting to that meet and greet gathering? They become more interesting than the rather than the same watches there. I'm not slagging off. I like GMT, I like Batman, I like Daytona and whatnot, but there is more to it. There is really more to it. And the latest episode with Bill Higgins of Talking Watches is a great example, and it was really refreshing to see someone who collects watches. For everyone has different reasons for collecting, and basically, rule of thumb for me is if the watch speaks to me, I want to keep it in my collection. And I don't care if it's gonna be losing value, if it's gonna be unimportant and whatnot. Don't get me wrong, I like money, but I like watches more.